I know this because I've jumped from one relationship to the next person. And because I wasn't, grieving and healing, I was just adding new pieces to my bag of emotional baggage and carrying that bag into every single interaction thereafter, which ultimately didn't it made me not show up like myself. And it obviously isn't great for that person because they're getting this very compounded, you know, baggage that I'm bringing to them rather than learning me. Welcome to Dating Deja Vu, the podcast where we talk about your patterns, your pitfalls, and your personal growth in modern dating. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, marriage and family therapist and dating and relationship expert. And today we're going to talk about, was it a rebound or a reset? Your post breakup partner situation. What does it say about you? This is incredibly important. I was watching The Valley and we're going to use that in the example. So if you're dating and love life look a lot of bit of the same, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. So let's figure it out together. What is up, guys? Welcome back, Deja Crew, to another episode of Dating Deja Vu. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about the partner immediately after a breakup or divorce. Is this new person a rebound or is this new person a reset? And how long should we take in between healing? Because what you do after a relationship ends is just as, if not more important than your healing from the relationship itself. So I think this is really important to talk about. So, what exactly is a rebound? I think we all know what a rebound is, but to clear things up, a rebound isn't just dating someone quickly after a breakup. It's when you date for avoidance, not alignment. So, you're dating to avoid the healing. Best way to get over someone is under someone else. That is a statement I may have said in my lifetime. It's this kind of disconnection, this dopamine hit. I mean, we also drink ourselves into oblivion. We also eat ourselves into oblivion. We may change radically, move across the country. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Um, so it's really about escaping the discomfort of being alone or like the discomfort of the grief process. Grieving process is really important. You're filling your space with someone else where you're filling the space someone else used to take up, right? And that's really unfair for them because when you think about a breakup, like you get into these routines, where like that person calls you around lunchtime and asks you how your lunch is. At 5 o'clock, you guys meet up at your favorite dinner place on Tuesdays, and you're trying to recreate this in this rebound, and it's not going to be the same. So then also you're going to feel disappointed, and you're numbing that grief with novelty, with something fun and new and exciting. And the thing about grief is that shit don't go away. It's just chilling. And it feels harder and harder when you don't allow it to just be. And it sounds harsh, right? But I don't want to judge you. I want you to have awareness around this. I know this because I've jumped from one relationship to the next person. And because I wasn't, grieving and healing, I was just adding new pieces to my bag of emotional baggage and carrying that bag into every single interaction thereafter, which ultimately didn't it made me not show up like myself. And it obviously isn't great for that person because they're getting this very compounded, you know, baggage that I'm bringing to them rather than learning me. And when you haven't processed pain of a breakup, you are unconsciously going to reenact it with the next person, different face, same wound. So, why do we rush to replace? So, our nervous system craves familiarity. I talk about this all the time, even if that familiarity, wow, words, wasn't healthy. So after a breakup, it makes sense that you'd reach out to your quickest regulation tool, which is another person, right? And it's not weakness, right? It's wiring, but it can become an issue when you stop checking in with your own needs. Like you have an open ass wound and you're trying to cover it up by, this band aid, aka another person. You also, it also becomes an issue when you jump into something else by trying to prove like you're okay. Like, oh, see, like I'm fine. Like I can have this relationship. I can have this casual sex. Like I'm good when you're trying to prove you're over something that you literally haven't even looked at yet. And you use the attention of this other person as like a numbing agent, like an anesthesia, if you will. It's like if it was, again, alcohol or a drug, you're just using another person. And this is how deja vu happens, you guys, because the relationship becomes a distraction and it's not necessarily a decision. And we can very much too, if you think about the reality of rebounds, like you and I know that that person we got in a relationship when we knew it was way too soon from their breakup. For the majority of those types of relationships, they don't end well. So we are just deja vuing. We're just another relationship where it's not going to end well. So I was talking about the Valley. So you have Jackson Brittany. So Brittany gets into a fling with Jax's friend. I forget his name off the top of my head. And recently on Watch What Happens Live, she talked about how that guy is not talking to her because he also was doing similar things behind her back. And she said, yeah, I know my picker is off. When, yes, that could be true, but also you have you haven't healed from this divorce of this person over 10 years and you're moving into something quickly and in this situation that person already knew their relationship because it was a friend of the husband, and it just reinforced all of the things that came from the past relationship. She was just like, here, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. Is like, oh, I'm in this vulnerable time. Like, please numb me, like help me, fix me. And she did say like he did help her feel beautiful and he showed up for her in that moment, but then there was still heartbreak at the end. What a reset actually looks like. A reset isn't about when you date again, but how you date again. I tell people all the time, if you're going through a breakup, you need to feel all the feelings, the grief, the shock, the anger, the bargaining, the sadness, the acceptance, and the ping ponging of all of those feelings. We don't need to hold on to a feeling if it's past. We don't need to push a feeling away if it's coming. We need to naturally allow it to happen. Your feelings are transient. They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They will work through your body pretty quickly if you allow them. I think I've told you guys I lost my soul dog of 15 years back in December, and I still get bouts of sadness, and I just allow myself to be sad and cry. And then we move on, right? My husband doesn't even know what happened because I'm just like sad, sad. It happened to me yesterday because I was folding clothes and where I have these like built-ins in my house and I like fold clothes on them, but her ashes are so it's like shelves on the built-ins and then a counter and then cupboards down. So it looks like almost like a big hutch, if you will, but it's like a built in the wall. So her ashes are on the shelf there. And I talked to her, and then there's a picture of us there, and I cry. I can cry now talking about it. Like I just allow it to feel, and literally it'll last maybe 30 seconds. When you're really going through it, it'll last about 90 seconds. What constantly lingers is your perception that you're putting on the feeling. Like I'll never find someone again. I can't possibly be alone, right? But if we can just say that's an emotion, that's sadness, call it as sadness, like I am sad right now, then it will move. It'll move on. So process the grief, right? We know when we're reset, when we process the grief, you're dating for desire, not desperation or this like dosing, right? You've reflected on what the last relationship has taught you. I think that's incredibly important. All of our relationships can teach us something about ourselves, about who we want in a partner, who we don't want to be in a relationship, and what we don't want from a partner. Maybe you meet someone 1 week later, maybe it's a year later. Time doesn't define healing, your intention around it does. I met my husband about 6 weeks after a breakup, and I in that 6 weeks was doing a lot of work on myself. And I remember going to San Diego with my one of my good girlfriends, because San Diego was my happy place. And I didn't drink. We just did things like we kayaked, we went to like music, we went and saw neon trees in kayaks at Humphreys by the Bay. It was really cool. We played on the beach, and I barely even drank because I knew myself I would like just get shit faced. Then after I did that the first weekend after, then I came home, and then the second weekend I did it again. I think I went out there 3 weekends. And then finally by the third weekend, it was 4th of July weekend. And she set me up on Tinder, and I started swiping. It was really fun, right? And then I started dating. But again, I didn't get into another actual serious relationship until like March of the next year, because Mark and I had our whole spiel. So here's the truth. Sometimes a rebound can be a reset, but it's only if you're emotionally ready for it, right? There is a difference. I have seen people get out of one relationship and go into a new one, but they went into the new one with a mentality of this is not to numb out. This is not to have, heal with this person. I need to heal on my own. And yes, they met someone else and they took their time with that person, but there was boundaries involved. So questions to ask yourself. So if you're wondering which is which, am I attracted to this person, or do I just want distraction? This is a good call, because sometimes a rebound can just be like not that hot, You're like, what need am I hoping they will fill? Do I feel more like myself with them, or more like I'm trying to prove something to them? Because, if you're dating to win the breakup and like, that's another one. Am I doing this to make the other person jealous? Huge. Don't do that. You're not winning, right? You're still in the breakup if that's the case, and you need to heal. So you're allowed to crave connection. You're allowed to crave, desire towards you after a loss, but don't let connection come at the cost of your healing. That's incredibly important. Don't let connection come at the cost of clarity, even more important. So if you enjoyed this podcast, you have that friend who is going through it and going through her phone, and where it's like, gym guy, because you don't even remember his name, but you're like, oh, he was interested in me. Tell her no, or him no. Send this podcast over to them. We love a share. We love a 5-star rating and review. If you have not done that already, we would absolutely appreciate it. It gets it out to more people. The more people who hear this, the more likely you'll go on a relation or on a date with someone who's listened to my podcast. If you haven't, again, subscribe, follow, turn that notification bell on, and you will find us on TikTok at Dating Deja Vu, as well as on Instagram. And if you are constantly rebounding after a relationship, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. Talk to you next time.